good evening. Thanks for joining us for highlights of the 2009 German Grand Prix from the Nürburgring. Qualifying was breathless, but what would the race throw up today? Well, we'll show you highlights of exactly what happened very shortly, but first, here's a quick look at the drivers' table going into today's race. And Jenson Button, who's very much been the man of the moment so far this season, was still enjoying a commanding position before today over his teammate Rubens Barrichello. He had a 23-point cushion, and it was 28 points between him and third-place man Sebastian Vettel. Well, highlights very shortly, but first, here's what happened in a dramatic qualifying session.
As the clouds rolled in over the Eifel Mountains, qualifying at the Nürburgring got underway. With a quarter of the grid made up of German drivers, it was Timo Glock who was the first to depart from the home contingent, but not before getting in the way of a furious Fernando Alonso. As rain threatened, the teams took no chances, sending their drivers out early in Q2, or so they thought. Conditions proved trickier than they looked. Nakajima spinning on an innocent-looking track, and Felipe Massa turning his fragile Ferrari into an off-road vehicle, with the master of the German GP Michael Schumacher looking on. Despite some near misses on intermediate tyres, Heikki Kovalainen was not impressed when his McLaren team wanted him to stay on the same tyre. He wanted slicks, and after some gesticulation, he eventually cut the engine. Take the hint, guys. And it wasn't just at McLaren that confusion reigned.
Wait, stop. They put the wrong tyres on.
Fernando Alonso struggled in the conditions and for the first time ever was out-qualified by teammate Nelson Piquet Jr., who made his Renault stick to the track. Another surprise package was Force India's Adrian Sutil, who starts a career best of 7th.
I'm really happy, for sure, one of the most happiest guy in F1 today.
And directly in front of him is his friend, the equally happy Lewis Hamilton. As the clock ticked down, it was Mark Webber who threw down the challenge to his fellow Red Bull driver Sebastian Vettel and the bronze. Vettel couldn't respond to the challenge and was left frustrated.
It isn't the front row today, but you know, it was tight and definitely possible, so I don't blame the car, I blame myself.
Jenson Button moved into second position, but a last-second dash by his teammate Rubens Barrichello bumped him back to third. As celebrations started in the Red Bull garage, Mark Webber was still unclear if he'd managed to bag his first ever Formula One pole position.
Have we got it yet or not? Have we got it? You got it, Mark. Well done. Pole position. Well done.
To get a pole today in such difficult conditions, it was a real tough session for the drivers and the teams to make the right decisions at the right time.
I'm happy for Mark for his pole position because he's a truly fun guy to work and to play with. He's quite fair on the track, and but I hope I can beat him tomorrow.
We're second and third. The only worry is that the cars are pretty close to us, and they sort of get 20 metres from the start line to the first corner, so it's going to be mayhem.
So Mark Webber secures his first F1 pole position, with the bronze of Rubens Barrichello beside him and Jenson Button behind him. The highest placed German is Sebastian Vettel in 4th, but the McLaren Kers cars threaten in 5th and 6th. It was a career best 7th for Adrian Sutil. 10th place goes to Nelson Piquet, who out-qualified Fernando Alonso, who starts from 12th. It was a disappointing day for Nico Rosberg at his home Grand Prix. He'll start from 15th, and another bad qualifying for Robert Kubica in 16th. And after a grid penalty for blocking, Toyota decided not to start at the back of the grid, so Timo Glock will start from the pit lane.
And that is Ukio Katayama going off yet again, which he makes a hobby of. And the Japanese driver plunges across the gravel trap. He'll lead. Prost second, Schumacher third. Berger is in 4th place, there he is, and behind him Mark Blundell and the Ligier Renault 5th, and going beautifully.
Now, straight line speeds are all important, and don't forget there that Mark Blundell's Ligier has the Renault engine, which we assume has about 60 horsepower more than the others, including the Ferrari engineer Gerhard Berger. So we should see Blundell manage to get by Berger, which is of course a different story to that we've seen with Brundle. There we are through that third chicane. Blundell well placed, but this is a difficult place to go by. If he can manage it here, he'll be doing very well indeed. This was the place where Senna managed to sweep around Patrese, to Patrese ultimate spinning. No, he didn't make it, not really surprising, into the stadium there. Now all he can do is just pace Berger. Now what Blundell has really got to set himself up for is the start of the lap. As they go through the stadium section, he's got to be right on his tail so that as they go out on the long drag, pulling up to that 212 mile an hour top speed, that he'll be in good shape to slipstream by. He should be able to do it. With that horsepower advantage, he's got about a 4 or 5 mile an hour straight line advantage. There we can see it closing. Now let's just watch through that turn 1, 130 miles an hour, 4th gear, up through the semi-automatic box. Berger got wide. Now he's got his chance. Now he must get by now. Berger got wide. He's threw some sparks up from those curbs. Berger trying to squeeze him a bit, but giving him a bit of room. No, he should be about by. Now, unless Blundell breaks too early, he's got the inside line for the chicane. He really ought to get through. Berger's not going to give up, though. Berger is not giving up. But, no, that was very nice driving. Good driving there. Berger tries to look round the outside, but really he can do nothing about it. Blundell is through and on his way.
Now, can I point out to you that while those cars were driving side by side, and as they are now, as Berger attacks again as they come down into the stadium section, and they almost bang wheels, and Berger retakes the 4th position, they're doing 200 miles an hour. Can you visualise that? It's almost unbelievable that they can fight with each other, not touch each other, give fair play, move over when they have to, and get ahead, travelling at that speed. Marvellous scrap. Gerhard Berger is 4th, Mark Blundell is 5th. Behind them, Riccardo Patrese is closing up a bit because these two are tending to get in each other's way. Riccardo Patrese, you'll see his car next. There it is in the background in 6th position, as again Mark Blundell tries for 4th. And once again, Berger keeps him back.
Well, that really was extraordinary. I really don't see how Blundell lost his momentum there. We know he's got a bit more power. It was almost as though he missed a gear coming out of that chicane. But these cars have the semi-automatic gearbox, and that shouldn't be possible. It's merely flicking the switch, or indeed you can run the gearbox in a fully automatic form.
And that's Akio Katayama's Tyrrell, and he's obviously had enough. He's out of the race. Berger from Austria. Mark Blundell from Barnet. Riccardo Patrese from Padua. And Ayrton Senna from Sao Paulo, and Blundell dodges out from underneath the rear wing. Beautiful bit of timing, goes past the Ferrari, back into 4th place, into the Motordrome, down to the 2nd gear, Sachs curve. You can really only coast round in effect here. Riccardo Patrese closing up on now 5th place Gerhard Berger. Damon Hill has gone faster again, 1 minute 42.9, and the lap record is 1 minute 41.6.